Alright guys, I just want to make a video talking about heavy lift multi-rotors or larger multi-rotors. Anything that's 400 millimeters and greater. I see a lot of people getting into this, and I see the common mistake being you have a low kV motor and you're trying to run 4S or 3S when you should be running 4S. Okay, you can run 3S if you want to build a 400 size or a 450. You can run 3S, but you have to have the right kV motor to do it. Okay, and typically the larger you go, the lower the kV you want, because the more torque it has to lift your all-up weight. And that right there is what I think you guys are missing. Your all-up weight. You have to account for everything when you're going to build a 400 size quad and up. Okay, you need to make an Excel spreadsheet. This is what I do. Make a spreadsheet. Put your frame weight, your ESC weight, your motor weight, your flight controller weight, any goodies that you have. If it's a GPS, if you're doing aluminum hardware versus steel hardware, put your hardware weight on there. Anything that's going on there, your receiver, anything, 3D printed parts, you have to put all of that on there, and the battery. If you're going to run a 4,000 milliamp hour battery versus a 8,000 milliamp hour battery, that battery is twice as much. That's going to drastically affect your flight times. Okay, once you have selected all your parts, okay, you need to look at your motor, look at your manufacturer, and they will have made a prop thrust data chart. This is very important. You need to look at that chart, and it'll tell you if, on 3S with a 10-inch prop or a 9-inch prop, you're going to make X amount of thrust. On 4S, you'll run whatever inch prop and you'll make whatever thrust. You need to take all 4 motors or all 6 motors, whatever it is that you're building, add up that thrust, and add up that thrust at the 50% value. So when you're looking at that chart, it'll say 10%, 20%, all the way up to 100%, and it'll give you all the thrust levels. At 50%, you need twice as much thrust, at least twice as much as your all-up weight. So if your quad weighs 2,000 grams, you need to be producing 4,000 grams of thrust at 50% throttle. Okay, if you're not doing that, things, it'll fly, but it'll be real wobbly, or it's not going to fly correctly. So, for instance, I fly Pixhawk. Okay, if my hover isn't within a window, and this will tell you, it tells you this in the wiki, you need to be between 45 and 55 or 60% throttle, okay, at hover. If not, when I engage altitude hold mode or loiter mode, if I'm above that, it's actually considered dangerous and that mode won't work. So depending upon your flight controller, if you're underpowered, there's features of that flight controller that just aren't going to work. So make an Excel spreadsheet, get your props that you think you want, or get your parts that you think you want, put everything in there, get all the weight, and play with the motor kV, and play with your voltage, and play with your prop. Those are the things that you're going to need to do, and what you're looking for again is twice as much thrust, at least twice as much thrust at 50% throttle as your all-up weight. Alright? If you do that, you won't have thrown $500 or $600 down the toilet. And it's a pretty crappy feeling, I know, because I've been there, and it was an expensive lesson. So I'm really just making this video hopefully to save you guys some time and money and frustration. So take my advice, and good luck.